The old generation of entrepreneurs are still very powerful. Mr. Wu started from scratch, and his ability, courage, and valor must be much better than ordinary people. If he is in charge of everything behind his back, the means must be much higher than that of Regnar. He will definitely be among others. When you think it's least possible to launch an attack, he will launch a fatal blow. After that, he smiled indifferently, and when the most unlikely attack is just after the failure, everyone thinks he would definitely retreat to rest, but he wants to hit the opponent by surprise. Mr. Orville exclaimed and said, "Mr. Wade, what shall we do now? Shall we send someone over overnight?" Charlie waved his hand and said calmly, "If the opponent dispatches a martial artist, it's not enough to see how many we can send, it'll all be fodder." Mr. Orville was shocked. "Mr. Wade, what should we do?" Charlie said lightly, "You don't have to worry about this matter, I have my own arrangements. After all, flying from Suzhou all the way to Chongbai Mountain, the distance is still quite far, there is still enough time to prepare." Hearing Charlie's words, Liang's eyes flashed with joy, and a heavy rock in his heart fell to the ground. Therefore, he said gratefully, "It seems that Mr. Wade is already confident." "Liang is here, thank you Mr. Wade." Liang is the one who fears the Wei family father and son the most. He didn't want the Wei's pharmaceuticals that he had finally gotten, and in a blink of an eye to drop it off his hands. Seeing that Liang was a little nervous, Charlie smiled indifferently, turned off the topic and asked, "By the way, how are you doing at Wei's pharmacy?" Liang looked straight and reported, "Mr. Wade, the overall development of the pharmaceutical factory has been fairly stable recently, but it has encountered some obstacles in developing new markets." "What's in the way?" Charlie wondered. According to the strength of Wei's pharmaceutical, it should be said that there are few rivals in the domestic pharmaceutical industry. However, for the development of new drugs, as long as a good prescription is found, there should be no problem. But if the prescription is not good, the strength of the pharmaceutical company is meaningless. Liang hurriedly replied, "Recently, Wei's Pharmaceuticals has invested heavily in developing a new Chinese patent medicine. The main effect is to drive away evil spirits and reduce dampness, cool the blood and relieve the core of the stomach, and treat stomach symptoms such as stomach pain, stomach acid, and retching. It has good curative effects." Charlie nodded and said, "Stomach disease is also a disease that modern people easily get. As far as I know, there should not be too many stomach medicines in China. Except that Sanjuwaitai is somewhat famous, I have never heard of it. Are there any other well-known Chinese patent medicines for the treatment of the stomach? In this case, you shouldn't be too hindered, right?" Liang frowned and explained, "I developed this medicine because I saw that there are too many people in the city nowadays. Many young people who go to work have stomach problems at a young age, and there is a large group of potential customers, so I brought the team to tackle problems. I found a suitable recipe from countless ancient recipes, but I didn't expect to be a step ahead by foreign companies, and they also optimized our original recipes." Charlie frowned. "Foreign companies? To plagiarize our ancient traditional medicine prescriptions? Don't those companies mainly focus on Western medicine?" Liang shook his head and said, "It's not a Western medicine, but Kobayashi Pharmaceuticals obtained an ancient prescription from our country, and then developed a kind of stomach powder based on it. The efficacy of this stomach powder is indeed stronger than our stomach medicine. So now the stomach powder market has been taken over by Kobayashi Pharmaceutical, which is very unfavorable for us." He paused for a moment, and then said with a little frustration, "Leave aside, Kobayashi Pharmaceuticals has developed our ancient traditional medicine prescriptions. The level of development of our ancient traditional medicine prescriptions is indeed very high. Since the era of Masao Kobayashi, they have been profiting from Campo medicines all over the world. Kobayashi Pharmaceutical's background is too deep." "Kobayashi Pharmaceutical?" Charlie couldn't help frowning when he heard this, and asked, "Kobayashi Pharmaceutical was so weak before, is it still so competitive now?" Liang nodded, sighed, and said, "Kobayashi Pharmaceuticals is the top pharmaceutical company in Asia after all. As long as it doesn't hurt the bones, it has strong competitiveness, and they have the best hardware laboratory and R&D team in Asia. Therefore, they can optimize a stomach powder based on the ancient prescription. Charlie smiled slightly. He didn't expect that Jiro really had two brushes. The entire Kobayashi Pharmaceutical was pitted by himself for more than 10 billion, and he was about to turn over so soon. At this time, Liang also sighed. We didn't make good use of the essence left by our ancestors. We finally let foreigners plagiarize it. It's really a shame. Charlie asked, "How big is the impact of Kobayashi Pharmaceutical on you now?" Liang said, "The gastric medicine alone will have a very big impact. In the long run, Kobayashi Pharmaceuticals is now actively developing new drugs. I estimate that in the future it will gradually eat away our development space. The income has already been greatly affected. Almost all the money invested in stomach medicine has been squandered, and we will continue to research and develop new medicines. If it succeeds, it will be fine. If it fails, it will take us further into the quagmire." After talking, Liang said again, "During this time, the World College Sanda fighting competition is about to begin. It will be held in Orus Hill. This game is sponsored by Kobayashi Pharmaceutical, and the promotion is very big." Charlie asked curiously, "Will Jiro come?" Liang said, "I don't know this yet, but it is said that the award-giving guest for this finals is a high-level Kobayashi Pharmaceutical official. It is still unclear who it is. It may be Jiro." Charlie nodded lightly.